Welcome! Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story about life design, pulled from a Japanese blog. It's all about how one couple built a life of incredible freedom on a budget that, honestly, at first glance, looks pretty much impossible. So, let's start with this number, 162,430 yen. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that's about 1,100 US dollars. And get this, that's what a Japanese couple who go by shide and cerulean spend in a month. Not just on food, not just on their home, that's for everything.
And that really brings us to the big question here, doesn't it? When you hear that number, you might think it's all about extreme sacrifice. But is it? Or is it something else entirely? Is it actually incredibly smart design? We're going to unpack their whole story and find out how they built a life that's about freedom, not restriction. To really understand how they do it, you first have to understand why they do it. And their story, it doesn't begin with a spreadsheet or a savings goal. It begins with a massive burnout. You see, the husband, Shide, used to work for what's known in Japan as a black company. And we need to be clear here, this isn't just a tough job with long hours. We're talking about a seriously exploitative, soul-crushing kind of workplace. Just take a look at this. This gives you a small glimpse into what his life was like. Monthly overtime hitting over 100 hours. In Japan, there's a term for that. It's called crossing the karoshi line, which is literally the line where death from overwork becomes a real statistical risk. This wasn't just pressure, this was the catalyst that forced them to make a radical change. And it all came down to this one thought he had over and over again. I want to go home, I'm sleepy, I don't want to die. That was his breaking point. This whole journey wasn't born out of a desire to be frugal. It was born out of a need for survival. And the change was, well, it was a complete 180. A total transformation from that life of constant, grinding exhaustion to one that's full of these simple, wonderful joys. Gaming, napping, baking scones, even taking care of stag beetles. He didn't just switch jobs. He literally took his life back. So the big question is, how on earth could they afford for him to just stop? Well, this wasn't some impulsive decision. Their freedom was actually built on two massive, really strategic financial moves that they made years before any of this happened. Let's start with this number, 0 yen. That is their monthly housing payment. Nothing. Years earlier, they'd bought a home for about 240,000 US dollars, and by saving like crazy, they paid the entire thing off. In one go. Just think about that. They wiped out their single biggest expense, forever. And then there's this number. That's their total household savings, which comes out to around 400,000 US dollars. So let's be super clear. They are not poor. They are incredibly financially secure. That solid foundation, especially owning their home outright, is the main pillar that holds up this entire low-cost lifestyle. Okay, so with those huge expenses just gone, let's look at how their daily budget works. Because their whole approach, it's not about painfully tracking every single penny. It's about creating these brilliant, efficient systems that save money automatically. It frees up all their brain power for the stuff that actually matters. Now, when you look at their budget, something really surprising just jumps right out. The biggest slice of this pie, at 32%, isn't a necessity. It's in this other category, which they say is pretty much all for leisure and travel. I mean, come on. This is not a budget of deprivation. It's a budget that's built to prioritize enjoyment. And here is a perfect example of their systems-first thinking. Just look at how they handled their gas bill. These are not daily sacrifices. They're not taking cold showers, right? No, they made smart, one-time decisions. They chose a home with cheaper city gas. They installed a high-efficiency heater. And they use a special insulated cover for their bath. These choices just save them money automatically, every month, without them ever having to think about it again. And the deeper you look, the more you see how they've optimized everything. They use 2 automatic cookers to make home cooking super efficient. They don't need pricey life insurance because their savings already provide that security. And I love this detail. The pocket money is split equally 50-50, even though only one of them has a paying job right now. It's a true partnership. So all of this, the systems, the budget, the choices, it all points to the core philosophy that drives their entire life. And it's a powerful idea. It's about completely rethinking the purpose of money in the first place. Shade writes this on his blog. Money is for spending. It sounds so simple, right? But it's actually really profound. What he means is that after you've handled your needs with maximum efficiency, the money that's left over, it's not for hoarding. It's a tool.
It's meant to be used, spent on creating a good life, on enjoying yourself.
And that's really the heart of it. They haven't sacrificed, they've optimized. They have meticulously engineered their finances to serve their life, a life of freedom and calm, instead of letting their finances dictate how they have to live.
And that's the real takeaway here. The point isn't to copy their budget down to the yen. It's to be inspired by their approach. It pushes all of us to ask a really powerful question about our own lives. Does your budget just pay the bills, or does it reflect your values? Are you actively, intentionally engineering the life you truly want?